Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's Saturday morning, the 7th of November, 2020. It was a wild week in the market, extremely bullish, and by extremely bullish, you'll see what I mean when I get into a few charts and analysis. Now I'm using the HGSI investor software as I always do, and in fact, this is the only software I use. In addition to Thinkorswim, I use Thinkorswim for trading purposes, but for analysis, it's all done in HGSI. Now, I'm conducting a webinar series right now for Insider Club members, and I'm going to use those files. I'm using folder number 20 of my add-on. For those of you who may not know, I do have an add-on which is updated daily to keep the program and the data current. Not the data, but the program with scans and views and so on that I find important, things that I work on. So what I want to do here is I want to go into the user groups, the major market analysis user groups. These are all groups of stocks, ETFs, and so on that I've put together over the years. I'm going to go to the first folder. It's called Major Markets Plus. I'm going to click through to the warehouse view, and if you look at this view, it is in this folder. It's called Top-Down Analysis, Major Markets Plus. This is the quick pick view, which makes it easy to work around the program. Now let's take a look at this. I'm sorted on the raw combo, percentage price change 1 day. Notice this column over here. This is percentage price 5 days. Look at some of these gains, especially in the, this is the BOUT ETF. It's the IBD breakout opportunities, and let me bring these charts up. This is a daily chart. This is a weekly chart, and if you lay your screen out like this and click on the weekly chart, look down here. This number, 15.70, matches this number up here. So obviously, the biggest gainers this week were in big tech stocks. And I mean, this is craziness. Look, you just don't see markets like this or charts like this where it goes gap, 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 gap. So this is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday, even before the election. But this is election day right here, and this ETF gained that amount. Now here's the SOX. It was up 12.6%. Same, very similar, but not the same. And craziness. Look at the gains here. 12.6 matches 12.6 up here. Now the pro shares, silver, let's see, where else did we have massive gain? Gold miners were up at 10.5. Let's look at gold miners. Had 1 day down there. Here's the Innovator IBD 50 fund. This was up 9.9%. Very similar, gap, gap, and so on. Where was the weakness? We'll go down to the volatility index. Of course, it's going to be inverse to what has happened with the leadership. And I'm talking about leadership here with these two groups, or the big tech stocks. Let's look at the Nasdaq 100, which is composed of a lot of tech stocks. What did it do? It was up 9.4%, and it's up one column over, 38.5% since the beginning of the year. You know, if you can write all this stuff out for the year, you know, that's pretty nice return, isn't it? Very few people can do that, though. Okay, now I'm going to go to the Nasdaq Composite, and I'm going to, well, I'll use a quick pick so you can see what I'm doing. I just go to the market charts. This is Nasdaq internals, used with the Nasdaq. And you can see that there was an effort to rise, And this is the advancing issues versus declining issues. Green, when the green is above, it's obviously positive, and this is advancing volume versus declining volume. This is new highs versus new lows. So very sharp, steep line here on the new highs versus new lows. And this is the ARMS index, which indicates buying power. But we did have effort to rise, and then it just kind of did nothing on after Thursday's big move. It digested on Friday. Let's go down here, or I'm going to go up here and go to my market charts. I'll go to number 2. This is the new highs versus the new lows. I'll put the crosshair on it. Look where the new highs versus new lows were on this day. That was Monday. You can see that actually the new lows were, well, they were pretty close, the new highs and new lows. And then by Friday or Thursday, look where this level is. And if we look back here, it's equal to several new high peaks in this index. Okay, and I'm going to go down here, look at Ian's multiple indicator chart. These were negative days here on the pocket pivots. This was a positive day. Back here was a eureka, but that was negated when the market went down. So I don't see any major signals here other than all of these being green up here. But as far as his indicators, I don't see any eurekas, which generally means a broad market move up. So is this just a concentrated move, short covering? Who knows? But the point is, it was a massive move this week. Okay, and let's do one more. I'm going to go to the NYSE. Here it is right here in front of me. I'll do the same thing. These, the eurekas and so on, nothing here either, surprisingly. What does this say? Well, maybe it's a pretty narrow market. That's the only thing I can come up with. Let's look at the new highs versus new lows. Looks like a similar picture here, not quite as great. And then let's look at this up here, internals. Not a lot of information here. Didn't get any VPA flags on this, did we? So still a big move up, massive move up. What the NYSE was up 6.4% over 5 days this week. Okay, well, so I look at this. What can you conclude? You can conclude there was a tremendous amount of buying power, but maybe it wasn't as broad as it feels. It was concentrated. Let's take this a little further. I'm just ad-libbing this. I don't know myself where this is going to lead me. So what I'm going to do is just go down to the next folder, scorecard view, end of day ETFs, major market ETFs. Same thing here, the market vector semiconductors up 12.6% for the week. Silver was up, gold was up. Emerging markets. Let's take a look down here at the IWM. Up a respectable 6.9%, but obviously not close to some of these other indexes. You can see the Qs were up 9.4%, so heavily tech weighted on this rally. I'm going to change back to what I call my context charts from the webinar. This is a weekly chart. This is a daily chart. Look at this move. I mean, it's unbelievable. Here's the cues. I didn't have the cues up. Here they are right here. So I'm going to do a quick sort on the percentage price change, 5 days, semiconductors, gold miners, the cues. Here is the IWO, Russell. Here's the 5. It was a massive move. There were just some areas that were obviously stronger than other. Of course, it depends on the components that are part of these ETFs. Some of them have a lot of components and others don't. Anyway, you can go, if you use my files, you can look at the ETF sectors to really focus in on some of these, or you can go to the HGSI sector indices. But if you do that, you need to flip over to the HGSI Index views, because these are indexes that are created by HGSI. Let's take a look at this. I don't have the 5-day in here. I'm going to pause this and add it quickly. Okay, there we go. You can see how much these indexes, and these are market cap weighted indexes, how they perform during the week. Pretty astounding. Since I'm in the HSI indices, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my broad market indices again, and I'm going to change charts here. What I want to look at, I'm going to use the All Stocks Institutional. This is an index that's made up of institutional, or stocks that have at least 50% institutional sponsorship. Now I'm going to change some charts over here. If you go to the HSI Index charts and go to, I'm going to use this chart, and then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to use chart number 6. And let's take a look at these charts using the all 50% all stocks institutional. This shows the percentage of the stocks above the 20-day, or their 20-day moving average, their 30, their 50, and their 200. For the longer term, down here on the 200, you can see that this one stayed above its moving average, even though the market has been showing some short-term weakness here. The 20-day went below its moving average. The 30-day did here, the 50, and then they reversed this week. From this low point here, let's see, what day was this? That's last Friday, and during the week, you can see the buying strength. Now let's look at that other chart. This is my buy-sell chart based upon certain factors. I'll put my crosshair up here. When the advancers versus decliners is either 5-to-1 negative. If it's 5-to-1 negative, this is going to be at least 5-to-1. It's going to be bright red bar, as is same thing with the volume, negative 5-to-1. And you can see on this day there was a sell signal there. The 3 had crossed the 6 back here on a negative pocket pivot. Let's take a look at this week though. Now here there is a yellow bar on this because the Force Index 13-day had not turned positive yet. But you can see up here that this was a 5-to-1 day. This was a 5-to-1 day. This was a 3-to-1 day, at least a 3-to-1 day, between 3-to-1 and 5-to-1. That's why it's a light green. And then the next day, everything turned green. So this was a signal that the market was turning. Obviously, we knew that from looking at what was going on. And you can see on this day, I'll bring up my alternate I key, that was Tuesday. So this was generated on Tuesday. Monday is the beginning of the turnaround, and then we had a big day on Tuesday. Volume was not really excessive in this, but you can see what happened. It went from orange If you look over here, that means that the long-term trend was up, medium was down, short was down, and it turned to blue on this, which means the short-term trend turned up. So there are indications, plenty of indications here. If you like confirmation like this, you can come in and use these charts. I use them all the time because they're a pretty good guide, actually. Not perfect, but back here, let's see, the 3 crossed over the 6. We had a yellow bar here because, once again, the force 13 had not turned positive, and then that turned into this long run up here. This was negative here, negative pocket pivots, and then it turned down. Here we had positive pocket pivots. The 3 had already crossed the 6. What do we have here? We have a yellow bar. And when you get the yellow bar, it tells you that most of the indicators are positive. And the laggard, obviously, is going to be the 13-day force because it's averaged over 13 days. The force index is today's close minus yesterday's close times today's volume, averaged over 13 days. The 2-day force is only averaged over 2 days, so obviously it's going to turn faster. Clear down here at the bottom. I know this is a lot to take in, but you can do this pretty quickly once you get used to doing it. And you can't go through every index, but you can certainly pick a few that you like. Here's the Nasdaq 100. Let's take a quick look at it, and you can see there's the yellow right there on the same day. Everything was green but the 13-day force. So where do we go from here? Who knows? But it certainly was a relatively broad rally with the tech stocks leading the way, and this is attributed to split Democratic president, I assume. We don't know yet, of course, and a Senate which is still up for grabs. But they seem to like, the market seems to like a split government. Pretty hard to get anything done in a split government. We know that. But Wall Street's self-interested, of course, and that's what they like. No new taxes, no higher taxes. Let's just run up more debt and not worry about having to pay for it. That's down the road. But that's the way it works, and all I can do is look at the markets and hope that things work out. Let's move to another area. I don't want this video to be extremely long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to once again go to the User SmartGroups. I'm doing this webinar series, and I don't know, 50-some people are enrolled in it, and they've seen a lot of this stuff. But for those of you who didn't enroll, I just want to point out that I am continually working on these User SmartGroups using filters and filters and combos that I've developed over the years. I'm going to go back to a weekly chart here, and I'm going to go back to a daily chart. And what I did this week is I added a few smart groups, and I'm starting to classify them. I didn't do anything with the ETFs. I'll have to get to work on that. But here's a folder with lower risk bullish entries. After a week like this, you want to try to find some lower risk entries, and I'll go over some of these here in a minute. These are momentum groups and webinar smart groups intraday. Now the thing about these webinars that I'm doing, I get feedback from users, and they ask me about things that can be done with HGSI, and just about, well, I shouldn't say that. Many things can be done with HGSI, especially now that we have these user groups that I can control with filters and views. And I've been doing a lot lot with it. We have, what I've done is, if you go back to the original smart groups under Woodward and Brown, you're going to find shadow stocks. These are stocks $1 to $30 that have earnings growth. Let's just take a look at one right here. And I just grabbed one, but you can look at the percentage of earnings growth in here. This is an application software. Broadband, okay. And you can see the gap up on earnings came down. It looks like it wants to go again, but it has to get past this area. This is the area that I'm going to cut that off a little bit. This is really the in play area. After the gap up, it came down and tested this. You can see a test here of this support, test here of this support, but now we've got resistance to get through. But looking at this as a shadow stock, it is because these two quarters, compared to the same quarters last year, have strong earnings growth. And that's what a shadow stock is. It's a $30 stock and under with good earnings growth. The reason it's called, these are called shadow stocks, is because if they're trading at that price, a lot of times they are not widely known yet. It's not always the case, but that's the reasoning. I borrowed that name, shadow stocks. I think the American Association of Individual Investors, I haven't looked at their stuff for years, but they used to have a group called shadow stocks, and I like the name because these are stocks that a lot of people may not know about yet. I'm just going to explain this one, and then I'm going to end this video. So somebody asked me, well, I introduced this quality momentum scan, $10 and up, 250,000 shares, RS90, 100% move up in 12 months, at least a minimum. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to edit it. Here's the filter. $10 and above, 250,000 shares, relative strength rank of at least 90, percentage price change, move at least 100%. Simple filter, but the concept is that if a stock has already moved 100%, there's a good chance it's going to continue moving because the demand is there. So one of the webinar participants likes this idea of using these parameters, but he wanted to just concentrate on shadow stocks. So what I did yesterday is I created some groups. Let me go in here and show you a few things here. I'm going to edit this. So $1 to $30. I'll show you the filter. 100,000 shares. EPS change greater than zero, comparing the quarters. Consecutive earnings of earnings increases 1 or greater. And these stocks are assigned to groups. Now, okay, I need to close this. And what I did here is, in this one, I said use All Securities. I put this in here like this so we would have a fresh list of all of the shadow stocks every day. It's all generated automatically. So you can see there's 345. That's a lot of stocks. But every one of these stocks meets that criteria of earnings growth. Now, some of these stocks are going down. They're not all going up. I'll guarantee you that. But here's your list. It's going to be fresh every day. As we get new data from HGSI, this list is updated. Now, you're not going to go through all these. I'm not going to go through all of them. But what we can do is we can have the fresh list without updating them manually. So I decided that I would incorporate this quality momentum scan. And this was a user, HGSI user, gave me the idea with the shadow stocks. I suggested just applying that filter to the shadow stock group, but I wasn't creating a shadow stock group automatically at that point. So I decided to create another user group. Let's go in and edit this. I should just leave this editor open. Shadow stocks RS90, 100% up, 12 months. So what I did is I just took the criteria from the shadow stocks and I applied the relative strength greater than or equal to 90 and the percentage price change greater than 100% to get a list of these shadow stocks which have been strong and are moving up. Once again, use All Securities because this list is going to be much shorter. Let's see what we have in here. Okay, shadow stocks right here. What do I have? I have 47 out of what I have, 300 and some. So these are the stocks that are making the list. I'm going to click on the top one. If you look down here, I'm using the weekly chart. You can see what has happened. This doesn't look very positive here on the daily, does it? Hasn't really done anything, but I'm interested in the stocks that have gained at least 100%. This is up 201% over 12 months. Do I like this stock? Not necessarily, but it is coming out of a downtrend and now it's gone into an uptrend based upon the daily chart, not the weekly chart, just the daily. Let's look at DGLY. Now these are inexpensive stocks, up 126.4%. OCUL, now here's one with a strong weekly trend that has been moving up this week. Look at the earnings growth, not real great, but it's been moving up, and that's what counts. So I'm just in my basic scorecard view, top-down analysis. Now, if I don't want to waste my time looking at stocks that are not trending up, what I can do is I can go in here, click on the combo ranking, and let's go down here. I'm going to sort on the VPA trend combo. And what this does is it looks at the trends, long, medium, short, and fan up. Now watch how this list changes. You can see a totally different list. Because what I want to do, if you look down at this column right here, you notice the numbers. The stocks that are at the top with a higher number are the stocks that are trending up. Here's the daily, here's the weekly. I'm just showing you this so you don't spend a lot of time looking at stocks that are not trending down. Nice weekly chart. Nice. Here's a Digital Alley again, Greenbrook Partners. So anyway, I don't want to dwell on this. You can play with this yourself. But this is shadow stocks. This group is shadow stocks. Which have had a big move already over the last 12 months, and there's a possibility they're going to go higher. So, this is quality momentum scan for All Securities, limited to 50. You can see there's big stocks in here. Here's NVIDIA, which is back to its old high. But if you want to concentrate just on the shadow stocks, here it is right here. Here's the whole group. Here's this one. Let's see. I put it in here under webinar momentum scans. And I also gave us an intraday shadow stocks and the ones that are up, but 12 months. So you you can use this intraday and see which ones are moving up intraday. That's it for this week. There's all kinds of possibilities with these user groups. I have quite a collection now. I don't know how many more, if any more, I will do. But by the way, when I change these, if I add or eliminate, if you update your add-on or when you update your add-on, they're going to be there automatically. So if I find some that I'm really not using or I don't think are useful, they may disappear. But as of now, I haven't really eliminated anything. If something's experimental and I just don't like it, I'll get rid of it. Anyway, have a good week. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. But this is a very, very unusual week, as we all know. Thanks for listening.